bad fall yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, look at this. You mind if I I'm Jimmy Chang, this is Adam.
Yep.
Okay. Before you freak out and head straight to the comments about us shaking hands here, let me give you a little context. This is footage from back in the good old days when the world was a simpler place and you could still hang out and shake hands. I'm with fellow EUC enthusiast Adam, aka Flyboy EUC on YouTube in San Diego, California. In this video, I'm going to admit how I was wrong that one time in a prior video. I'm going to share my thoughts on competition and innovation with respects to some new wheels that are just announced. And I'm going to talk about what suspension in electric unicycles means to the Onewheel. And I'm going to do it while riding in San Diego, back when it was legal to do so and back before this COVID thing hit the world.
From Flyboy?
Yeah, Flyboy 10.
We are here in La Jolla Shores and he's showing me his wheels. So this is, what was your first wheel? This one here?
First one was the 14D.
Okay.
And then upgraded to the S.
Okay.
And then the XL.
The 14D, and then this is the 14S.
Yeah.
And now you have the XL, which is an 18-inch wheel. Do you mind if I put my Onewheel in your car?
Yeah.
And then we can, okay.
First, let me admit I was wrong. As I tell my kids, quoting the great Michael Scott, it takes a big man to admit his mistakes, and I'm that big man. In a previous video, I talked about what I want and what I did not want to see in a future Onewheel. I took a pretty strong stance on not wanting to see suspension on the Onewheel, and that statement applies to EUCs as well. I felt that way because suspension adds weight, complexity, expense, and more parts to break down and repair. Back in January, I met and rode with the folks from InMotion, and they told me that they were working on a super secret project that was going to be amazing. Well, the world was recently introduced to the first ever mass-marketed single-wheeled self-balancing device with suspension from InMotion. Then, just days later, a separate company, Kingsong, introduced their EUC with suspension. Why doesn't this move with suspension surprise me? EUC riders tend to differ from Onewheel riders in that they focus on specs, whereas Onewheel riders focus on being able to stand sideways and the stoke that makes the Onewheel so unique.
Here, let's go to this overlook here. I want to see if my wife was able to paddle all the way out here. So she would, oh, there she is. That's crazy. Winnie! What's up? Maggie! That's so funny.
I'm not going to go into all the details on each of the new wheels with suspension, but I will highlight some of the things that caught my attention and compare them side by side for you. The biggest specs that people are interested in boil down to speed, power, and range. But after a while, except for the hardcore fans, the majority of riders don't need to be able to go insanely fast or have out-of-this-world range, although it is nice to have and to brag about. Because you can only do so much with speed and range, I feel that these companies shifted the focus to help make the ride feel smoother and to set their wheel apart from others, and that is an expected evolution. Because of the addition of suspension, sacrifices in other areas needed to be made to keep the device weight and price down. That's why we see a relatively average top speed at 32 miles per hour with both devices, and with the Kingsong, they've left out speakers on its wheel. Tire size is the same in both wheels. I like the 3-inch tire width on my Nikola, and I think that is a great tire width. Kingsong S18 is 12 pounds lighter than the InMotion V11, but it also has less range. During their unveiling, the InMotion folks were very excited about the lights, which are going to be super bright. Personally, I'm more excited about the parking stand so I can take photos of my wheel more easily when I'm out and about. I feel that the Onewheel is more photogenic than electric unicycles because it can stand on its own, whereas the electric unicycle needs to be leaned against something, held, or laid down on the floor when not in use. The parking stand could be a game changer for Instagram and Facebook posts. The two devices have varied design when it comes to suspension. The InMotion has a more traditional appearance, whereas the Kingsong S18 has gone out of its way to showcase its suspension system, and I have to admit, I love the look of the Kingsong. I love the innovation and the pushing of boundaries. I find it fascinating that two separate companies were working on basically the same project to become the first to mass produce a wheel with suspension. I guess that's what healthy competition will foster, a drive to innovate and improve. Once you have speed, range, reliability, and safety down, then the next step is to add comfort features like suspension. As for the Onewheel, it still has a long ways to go with speed, range, and safety. So I'm going to say it again. I'd like for the next Onewheel to have improved safety features like increased power, speed abilities, and well, nosedive prevention before they add something like suspension.
So it's bigger, it's slower, so you kind of have to lean a little bit more.
How heavy is this thing?
It's 55 pounds, and if you pull up on the handle, it'll cut off.
I don't know if I... Yeah, okay, so just like my 16S.
Does yours have a cutoff as well?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. But I guess not all of them do.
No, only the 2019 models.
Whoa.
So it's practically a tank compared to this thing.
Bit. So smooth.
Yes, it is.
The other one is it's more nimble, but this thing is like, this is smooth.
Yeah, it's a cruiser for sure.
I like it. And this cover is nice. I don't know if it's my riding position or if my shins should even be hitting the wheel, but the cover is nice because it's got a little bit of padding.
Yep. Still going straight.
Woo!
Yeah, it's just super smooth. I love it, and it sucks up bumps like nothing else.
I like this. This is nice.
Yeah.
I feel like if I were learning, this would be a lot easier to learn on. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Because it took me 4 hours of continuous riding on the 14
Yeah.
D before I felt comfortable to go in the street. But I feel like an hour on that with someone, they'd be pretty confident.
And I like the big foot pads immediately.
Oh yeah.
You can feel the difference with
And
big foot pads.
you can feel the difference between the grip. Like if you
Yeah.
try to pivot your toes out, they won't move.
Yeah. That's right. Man, this is bad. This is gonna make me want to get another wheel. Honey, I'm gonna get another wheel. I feel more confident too. Like it's got, because it feels more powerful. I feel like going up hills and over these bumps.
Yeah, try going over this brick.
No, dude, no big deal. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's right here. We can keep on going now if you want.
Maybe I won't come back.
If you found anything of value in this video, from the ride footage to the information, then consider giving this video a like and subscribing for future content. Thanks for watching, and remember to wear your safety gear.
It's just super comfortable. I mean, it's like a luxury car, right?
Very cool. Well, this is awesome. Thank you so much for letting me try this out.
No No problem.